Hello humans, how are you? It's me, Sophia. I go as Sophia the tiny kitten human, or Sophia the elven kitten. It's 1 a.m. My family is asleep, so I'm in my garage. I love my garage. So I'm trying to keep my voice down. And so, being inclusive to all LGBTQIA, plus, etc. is so important. I'm sure I'm speaking to the choir here. Anyway, this is a shout out to the older lesbian stranger who helped me start the journey of figuring out who I am and for helping me learn that being me is okay and it's a good thing. She took the time out of her busy working day to reach out to a scared and confused high schooler back in like 2013, 2014, before gay marriage was legalized. So I'm a Demi / and asexual who doesn't have a gender preference, but to the uninformed, that doesn't mean that I'm bisexual. For me, I define attraction as based solely on personality. Physical appearance or gender means nothing to me. It doesn't do anything for me. Hence, I'm a non-bisexual, Demi / asexual, who could go either way. And those terms, they mean the world to me because they help me understand who I am and that I'm okay, that there's nothing wrong with me. I'm also a very devoted Christian, but I believe that the Bible was just misinterpreted and mistranslated, particularly since if you look at not just the verse in Deuteronomy that a lot of people think, and I agree, probably refers to pedophilia and not gayness, the earlier sections that talk about like different kinds of incest not being cool in Hebrew are actually gender. It's like a man should not have incest with a gender neutral term, and it's very specific. Not all of it. Anyway, I digress. Also, again, thank you to the random internet lesbian in 2013-14 who helped me out. I on the spot. Anyway, the reason that I bring up that I'm Christian is because it's relevant to the access to information as I had at the time. Growing up, I'm going to share my story, I don't mind. I've written this stuff, this is awkward. It's okay. Growing up, once I got into middle school and everyone was starting to have hormones and begin to hit puberty and start to figure out what their sexual preference was, I wasn't, and I just thought that I was a late bloomer. I just wasn't there yet. By the time I got to high school, still nothing, but initially I wasn't that concerned. There were also other issues going on at home that were completely unrelated. And then in the middle of the 9th grade, I was removed from an abusive situation with my birth mom and a man, and I went into foster care with this awesome family. It wasn't my first time in foster care, but with this awesome family, they basically ended up adopting my brother, but that's despite the point. And this wonderful family, who I still consider family, were kind enough to spend their own money to send me to the Christian youth group's summer camp. My cats are meowing because there's a door between me and them, and they're not allowed in the garage, and that gives me anxiety. I love them so much. Anyway, and so this was like the first time spending a lot of time with like girls, teenage girls. I mean, like small group Bible study youth group is not quite the same thing, but anyway. So there were like 12 of us, and all of the girls in my group who were in the summer of 9th grade going into 10th grade, and even our 19-year-old like group leader were all raving on and on about who they liked, who, especially who in the church, they liked, which boy in the youth group they liked. And I didn't have an answer because I just wasn't attracted to any of them. I now know that, like, I know why, but at the time I was just like, I don't know. And so they kept egging me on. They kept asking, come on, you must be just embarrassed. Who do you like? Who do you really like? Are you lying? Like, there must be a guy. Tell us. Well, they told us. We've all said ours. Like, don't be embarrassed. Like, really, there's gotta be someone. And they just wouldn't let. I just wanted to fit because we were all bonding over this thing, and I didn't know how to relate to it. And as far as I knew, that's what was supposed to happen. So, my solution, because they were like showing on social media who they were, who the guys that they liked were. So my solution was to go on the group's Facebook, like, youth group page and see like who joined. And I picked someone random who nobody else had picked, who seemed nice because in their profile picture they were at a mission trip to Haiti, repairing a church that had been destroyed by the earthquake a couple years prior. And so I was like, him, Corey. I like him. Corey is sexy. I don't think I'd ever talked to Corey. But finally they were like, see. Did you say anything? Yeah, he's so cute. I love his curly, like, brown hair, like curly hair. I was like, yeah, totally. I love him. And yeah, yeah, so I got upset with that for a while, a little less than 2 years. But just that peer pressure, and that like everybody, all of the girls liked somebody. Even our leader was like encouraging this. So that's when I started to wonder, why don't I have a crush? And as time progressed, as I got further into school, this anxiety got worse and worse and worse because I wasn't attracted to anybody. I didn't find men interesting or attractive, and I didn't like the idea of getting one or marrying one. But I did want to get married, and I did want to have kids. But men weren't attractive. Nothing happened when I looked at them. If anything, a picture of a shirtless man was ew and not ooh, and I guess women were pretty, and at minimum not gross. I was just a kid who wasn't ready for that yet, but also asexual. But I genuinely thought that there was something wrong with me. Like, I had a period, my tiny boobs, that, see, they're so small that you can barely tell I even have them in the shirt, and I like to say I have 4 boobs because anyway, my ribs, if I suck my stomach in, they stick out about just as much as my boobs. But that's just a silly thing. And I got distracted. Anyway, where was I? So, yeah, I have a period and I have tiny breasts, so I had puberty, but something in my hormones, my estrogen or whatever, must have been broken, because when the rest of everybody else, when they hit puberty, when they started having periods, when they started having hair, when their voices started changing, that came with a sex drive, or just attraction, libido, and it didn't for me. And this was also around the time in the period, just when, right before gay marriage was legalized, and so the media's message was that basically that you don't have to be heterosexual. Gay people exist. There is diversity in sexual preference, but just that, diversity in sexual preference. And so there was an alternative, as far as I could understand as a kid, probably, I think 16 maybe? Yeah, 16. So yeah, there was an alternative to me being a woman. I didn't have to be sexually attracted to men. Just dating a man seemed horrifying at the time, at least the sex part. Also the men part, but only because men were scary and I didn't know much about them. Now I don't really care, but so maybe that meant I was a lesbian, but that brought on a whole new issue, because if I was, so I had to be a lesbian, right? That was the only other option, because I didn't find men sexually attractive. But I also didn't find women sexually attractive. But at least they weren't as scary as men. But they also weren't sexy. I also wasn't attracted to them. And the reason that I found men scary also had to do with some sexual abuse that I experienced at 15, which I've now pretty much healed from. So it wasn't like, so my fear of men and male genitalia wasn't a gay issue, it was more of a trauma issue that I've now overcome, and I don't care. But at the time, as a kid who had been told and wasn't ready to look at myself, I believed that being a lesbian was a sin, but I wasn't attracted to men, so I thought I had to be a lesbian whether I liked it or not, because there wasn't another option, even if I wasn't attracted to women either. Which, to me, was still very scary and problematic as a gay kid being forced to be straight, but also being forced to be sexually attracted to men was just as bad. So, I was very confused. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who's experienced this. So, believing myself to be a scared lesbian who wasn't attracted to women, I turned to the end and obscurity of the internet and lamented my woes, just to basically no one to myself, just because I wanted to vent my confusion and frustration. My cats again, they miss me. It's okay, Susu, I'll be back soon, I love you. So this is when my random 50-something kind internet lesbian superhero came in. And this is also when I learned, where was I? And even though the forum that I posted this to wasn't even related to LGBTQIA+, this wonderful woman PM'd me and said something along the lines of, "Hi, sweetie, I'm a lesbian and a mom, and you can calm down. It's okay. You don't have to be a lesbian. If you're not attracted to men, that's okay. If you're not attracted to women, that's okay. don't have to be a lesbian. It's okay. There's something called asexual. And she sent me a bunch of links to internet sources of information about what asexuality was, what it meant, and different forums and support groups and just groups online of other people who were asexuals sharing their experience and supporting each other. And she reassured me over maybe an hour or more of chatting that I was okay, that this was a thing, that my hormones weren't broken, and that I didn't have to have a sexual preference, and I didn't have to be sexually attracted to somebody. This was, it's really difficult to describe how much of a relief this was to me, because I was terrified and really confused and afraid that I would, like I was a sitter or something, which now I've changed my interpretation about that. This has gone on for 16 minutes. And she explained, which wasn't as well known at the time, particularly in where I was in the Bible Belt, but that it wasn't just LGBT, it was LGBTQIA+. And unlike some people believe, the A didn't stand for ally, it stood for asexual. Later in my journey, because I do want a relationship, I do want to find people, and attraction to me isn't sexual. Attraction to me is based on personality. And so, I'm asexual, demisexual. And it's so cool that I can have these labels because it tells me who I am and that I'm okay. And I'm so grateful to this random mom lesbian lady because she helped me figure it out a lot sooner than I probably would have on my own. I probably would have figured it out eventually, but you probably saved me years of confusion and unnecessary torment. And I don't remember her name. I don't know much about her life except she's a mom. And at the time, she was planning to get married when it was legalized in the United States, in all 50 states. It was legal in her state, but I was going to the bathroom. She was waiting until it was legal for everybody in America. So by now, I'm sure she's married with her wife, who was her special mom friend. No homo. But she was open about it, but anyway. So she did tell me a little bit about her life, I guess. And so now I'm 24 and comfortable in my own skin. And I know what I want. I know I'm looking for a kind, intelligent, nerd, geek who loves Jesus. That's the most important part. Who likes video games, D&D, Lord of the Rings, Star Trek, Doctor Who. The specific fandoms don't actually matter, but they have to be a nerd and love Jesus. And also like cats, because I love cats. They're my favorite. They were my autistic obsession growing up cats. I actually learned a lot about human reproduction and how babies are formed because cats and kittens were so cute that I learned to read better English, so I could read books about cats and how cat babies were made, which got me interested in how human babies were made, but not in a dramatic way, like in a scientific way. Sorry, I got distracted. But yeah, I'm looking for, again, an intelligent, kind, Jesus-loving nerd, hopefully likes video games, D&D, Lord of the Rings, Star Trek, Doctor Who, cats, and people who wants kids and is open to the idea of someday fostering troubled teens, or fostering teens who are labeled as troubled, and who is ready to love life, humanity, and Jesus with me, and tackle life's ups and downs together. It's also an added bonus if he or she happens to be physically strong enough to help me push my wheelchair through, I can't move, push my wheelchair through trails and so we can go on hikes and go camping and stuff, because I love nature and I love the great outdoors, and who will work on my car with me, or his car, or her car. Anyway, just, that's the kind of person I'm looking for, and gender doesn't matter, looks don't matter, but kindness matters, and I do need somebody who can match me, so we can have silly, nerdy, intellectual conversations. So that's where I'm shallow. I need somebody with a high IQ. Just kidding, at least average. Average would be cool if they're smarter than me, because then they can challenge me. So, kind, Jesus-loving, nerdy genius. Sorry. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for in a soulmate. And now, I know I'm me, I'm a whole person, a valid person, and I'm okay. That I'm never going to be normal. So yeah. Yeah, love and ASL. Live long and prosper, y'all. Postscript. Though I am asexual and demisexual, I am capable of physical arousal through, physical stimulation. And apparently, female couples have more orgasms, so that's cool. I guess. But just something that I read that's interesting, kind of intriguing, but it doesn't really matter because, you don't need another person, and I am planning on saving sex for marriage anyway, so, but, interesting. Oh, do you like my kitty shirt? Yay! Kitty shirt. Anyway, shh. Good night. God bless you. Love. Live long and prosper.